welcome to episode 4 of Shaun Spins. I was going to record this yesterday, and we lost power and water up here. And I'll tell you, the first thing I wanted to do when it came back was, some people might run to their phone or do things like that, like I need to check. And I wanted to listen to music, so late last night I was listening to a Vaseline CD. And that was nice, but let's see what we got today. We got a little bit of a pile. Let's see it's a good one. The Districts. It's a good band. Are we doing this one? No? Yeah, of course not. It's a good band. Man, it's a good band. You said you want to do the 7-inch albums today. Okay, there's a pile. Let's see what we got. Oh boy, Bananarama. Yeah, I don't really want to do this one. It's good, but I'm not really into them anymore. I was when I was younger. What else we got here? Oh, this is a good one. The Elliott Smith outtakes. Can we do this one? No? Of course not. The next one? Okay, let's see what we got. Ah, geez, not again. It's the same Debbie Gibson from the last time. I told you, I don't feel like doing this one. It's not as rare as you think in the production room. I mean, it's okay. I mean, again, I liked it more when I was younger. Not as much now. I'm not going to do that one. There's one more record here. I'm doing that one. Let's see what we got. This one just came recently. Oh, yeah. This one we're doing. This is the new this Bicycle Thief. Well, I shouldn't say new. It's the 21st anniversary of You Come and Go Like a Pop Song. Well, let's get into it. This Bicycle Thief album is probably one of my favorites. And you might be saying, well, how did you get into this band? I've never heard of them. I didn't either. I got into them via this album right here, John Frusciante's first solo album. This was given to me when I was 22 and in college. And the person that gave it to me said, I think you might really like this album and be able to relate to it. And I put it on and it just amazed me. Because I knew of John's work outside of solo with the Peppers, but not like this. It's hard to believe this album was recorded at the same time as Give It Away. It's the exact opposite. At nighttime, John would retreat with Rio, and this came. So from there, I would hear about John doing things such as with Tricky, and then I heard of him playing on a song with a band called The Bicycle Thief. Now you might be saying, well, who are The Bicycle Thief? So here we are, The Bicycle Thief. No, what the? This is the old movie, The Bicycle Thief. I'll tell you. Oh, that's better. Here we go. Bob Forrest. Now, I had known of Bob from Thelonious Monster, but I never really got much into them, just partly budgetary. I knew them, too, from Funky Monks, when the Peppers sing one of the songs. So here's an image of what the Bicycle Thief became. Bob Forrest and Josh Klinghoffer. Now, Josh Klinghoffer later on became famous for being in the Peppers, but I got to hear Josh the first time in the Bicycle Thief, and then with solo work with John Frusciante. So it started from this John Frusciante album, and it moved into wanting to find this Bicycle Thief, which I eventually found on CD around 2001, I'm going to say. And this is the second release of it in 2001. It came out originally a couple years before on a different label. And like I was saying about Josh Klinghoffer, also working with John, like this is literally like 2 years after The Bicycle Thief, 2-3 years later. This is John Frusciante's solo album when he rejoined the Peppers, like the second one. And inside of it, there's a picture of Josh with John. I used to love it when people would get kind of nervous about Josh joining the band, and I would go, that guy's really good, from different Josh solo things and The Bicycle Thief. Well, let's get into The Bicycle Thief. So, as I said, I found this at a local store when I was going to college, and interestingly enough, it had come from like a radio station because it's got a hole punch in it. It's the only time I ever saw it. And it immediately became my favorite album. Not only because of the music, but the design of it. And being someone that was an art student too, like the design in this is beautiful. Like it has these different images and like sayings. And my favorite was always the clocks. You know, it says, "Is love something you fall in and out of?" And even the usage of the words on the bottom that connect together and similar on the inside. There's a word on the bottom. There's Bob Forrest over there. Interesting thing was I knew that John played on one song, the Serial song. And I was really excited to hear that song because I knew that John was just coming back to life. And I was really excited to hear that song. And but like I said, I ended up loving the entire album. Always been one of my favorites. I said I've never seen it again. I knew that there was another pressing of it before, like I said, the original pressing, but I've never saw it. I didn't know there was a different track listing. This one had 2 different songs on it, and it was missing some stuff, which I never knew. So this year, I hear that they're doing a 21st anniversary. And like everything else with me usually, I hear about it way later. You know, a band might be coming to town and I hear about it 2 weeks after the fact. So I hear about this album coming out, the 21st anniversary of the Bicycle Thief. It's going to be repressed. They're making 500 of them and it's going to be all this great stuff. And of course I hear about it after the fact and it was sold out. Let's take a picture of what this looked like. So here's the image I saw online of the re-release of You Come and Go Like a Pop Song. Of course it said sold out because I didn't know about it. So I decided to write to the company and said, "Do you have one more?" And I told them how much this album meant to me, how I found it in the store 21 years ago, 20 years ago. And they said, "We do have one more." And they were able to send it to me. So let's get into the review. Now I prefer the original artwork. I love the way the words tell a story with the images. I thought I liked the original track listing until I heard the original. Now let's take a look at the original, which is now the re-release, the 21st anniversary of the Bicycle Thief. You Come and Go Like a Pop Song. Here is the back, different track listings. This is number 236 of 500. It opens up, gatefold with lyrics, which is nice. Kind of has an old school Electric Ladyland feel in there. Comes with this one-sheeter, stories from the band, and some images. Some of these were in the CD, some I never saw. This also comes with a digital download code, not of the album itself, but of other random stuff and live stuff. Let's take a look at the record. When the record came, it looks different than what it did on the photo. I thought this was a color and ended up being clear, and then you have that blue. It's very interesting when it plays. It reminds me of that old Steve McQueen movie with the blob in the beginning moving. It does have some of the images from the CD, just not the words. I really like the track listing on this better. At first I couldn't get used to it. I'm so used to the CD. It's like, oh, the next song, and then it ended up not being the next song. So I had to get used to this. It came with a 45 also. The 45 is what were the songs that were different on the CD. So we have Trust Fund Girl here, which I really like, and I always did. And then Song for a Kevin Spacey Movie. I did not like this song on the original album, and it was the song that led it off. I just didn't like it. I didn't feel like it belonged on it at all. And I'll tell you, it did not age well with what's going on with him in his life. Trust Fund Girl I did like, and this was like right on with the color from the internet. I kind of wish this was just on the album, but it wasn't. There was one other song I also did not like on the original CD, and that was the second track called Stoned. And on the album, it's called Aspirations and then Stoned in parentheses. I also feel like that does not belong on this album. And you might be saying, why don't you think that, Shaun? Well, because I feel like this album is all about healing and coming back to life. You know, coming out of a very dark place and coming back to the living. And Bob Forrest tells the story of coming back to the living. And even like the littlest things, like reminding someone that someone called, like being responsible, like things that might not have been happening with him in the past because he was living a life in addiction and being selfish and self-destructive. So many of the songs talk about coming back to life and coming back to the living and experiencing life and everything. And even to me, like how that stuff can be scary at first. And hearing this, you don't feel as alone. One of my favorite songs on this was always Off Street Parking. Man, is that a good song. The track listing's much better how it starts with Hurt, because you get an intro like, this is me, this is Bob. My intro before to Bob Forrest, like I said, was Thelonious Monster a little bit and Funky Monks, the Pepper singing it, but Bob is talked about in Me and My Friends, the Hello Slovak playing that song with the Peppers, my friend Bob. And then the Peppers even did a song about Bob with Dave Navarro. But to be introduced to him this way was just beautiful. Josh's guitar playing is wonderful. It sounds pure. There's no crappy studio stuff. It sounds like someone is sitting in the room with you. And this is why the album's always been one of my favorites. It's just beautiful. Sounds a lot like John Frusciante. The first time I heard the Serial song, I couldn't tell who was Josh and who was John. They sound very similar in their guitar playing. It's great stuff. Now you might be saying to yourself, Shaun, was it worth getting on vinyl? Absolutely. It's one of my favorites. It's one of those albums that when I pass away that I'd like to be buried with it. And it's always an album I try to let people listen to. I'm like, this is a great album, especially if I know someone that is struggling. It's very easy to relate to, I believe. And it's just beautiful. Now, the biggest difference I noticed with them, because sometimes I don't notice much of a difference between a CD and a record. I know people might go, oh, there's a big difference. Most of the time I hear a difference between like a CD and a cassette, or a cassette and a record. And sometimes just the production value between a record and a CD. Sometimes the CD to me just is like quieter. Well, for this one, the record is way different. It's warmer, more natural. The CD kind of hits you like a ton of bricks. I'm not saying that it's super loud music. I'm just saying, like, we'll say a part that goes soft to loud, kind of like the Pixies. The CD, it just goes right at you and just hits you. The record is a little bit warmer, and I don't know if the right word for it is fade, but it just goes into it more gentle. It's not just like a ton of bricks, like just hitting you. So it's a little bit more smoother and nicer. I compared, I think 2 or 3 songs I went through and compared them. And yeah, this is more natural, the record. Well, I'm still keeping the CD because it's just nice to have and listen to. And I'm a little concerned I'm going to wear out the record too. I do like the different songs on here. It's just a great album. As I said to you, my original getting into this album was because of the Serial song. But when I got the album, like I said, going back to the original, Max Joel Call, Tennis Shoes, Off Street Parking, beautiful. Hurt, It's Raining, Trust Fund Girls, just beautiful. Serial song, they're just beautiful. Like I said, I only had problems with 2 of the songs. I just thought they didn't belong on it. And I often wondered, like, since they're on here, I wonder why it was an afterthought that when it got released again on a different label in 2001, like, oh, let's just throw that on there because maybe that'll be like a hit. But it had nothing to do with the theme of the album, especially the first song. I don't know. Like some executive thought, that's a hit right there. We're going to just put that on there even though it has nothing to do with the album. I'll give you another example for that in my life. The song 5 Years from David Bowie is a brilliant song, but it seems a little out of place on the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust. I know some people might be going, what? If you ever get a chance to hear the album, I recommend it. Right now on YouTube, Josh and Bob recorded a live version of it. And they talk about, too, that not a lot of people have it. And it's beautiful. Listen to them play it live. A couple months ago, they did it. But again, I'm always thankful that I was able to find this album back in 2001. And who knows what record store, how they got it. Excuse me, like, did the radio station probably never even played it. I've never heard this on the radio. They probably got it and just like, okay, put it aside. But I highly recommend you give the band a listen. I highly recommend, if you're struggling with addiction, this album can really be there for you and let you know there is another side, that you can get help and you can be well, and there is life out of the darkness. Well, that's about it for today. I hope everybody's well and safe, and maybe next time we'll do that Debbie Gibson album. And take care.
And now I haven't played music for a long time, and I got my life kind of back together, and I don't play music much anymore. But so we're going to see his favorite band called The Offspring, right? And he's all excited because the Offspring guys liked my band when they were kids, like, or something. I don't know. But we were going to meet them after the concert, and Elijah was so excited. He was like holding my girlfriend's hand, going, "Max, I can't believe we're going to meet Dexter. I can't believe it. He's the coolest guy in the whole world. I can't believe it." And she goes, "Your dad's pretty cool too, you know." And he goes, "Maybe back in the 80s."